So this is response to easyonetwothree's video called Hating for the Sake of Allah. We must hate all kuffar. Kuffar, for those of you who don't know, is the uh, Arabic for non-believers, or like me. Yeah, this is a very disturbing video to me, easy123, for obvious reasons. Um, but in order to, just a confession, I guess, maybe just to let you know that I think I understand where you're coming from a lot better than what you think I do. Um, Let me just tell you a story. Okay, this is a story about something that happened in a town called Los Gatos, California. It's about 6 miles north of where I live, and my wife bikes back and forth to Los Gatos and spends some time in the bookstore there for exercise. And she made acquaintance with a person who stays in that bookstore a lot. And the reason that person stays in the bookstore a lot is that person is homeless. I don't know if you've heard or not, but the economy is getting really bad here, and there's a lot of homeless people. And so she spends a lot of time in the bookstore because for shelter and it's more comfortable being in the bookstore than it is outside. So my wife became friends with her and started talking to her, and every once in a while she'd notice that her husband wasn't there, and she'd say, "Well, yeah, my husband beat me up, Ryle, and I threw him in jail." This sort of thing, right? So one Sunday, me and my wife biked down to this bookstore together, and we were sitting there, and this woman was there, and she brought us two pieces. She had a piece of chocolate cake, right? And she came over to our table and she shared her chocolate cake with us. She gave my wife a piece of chocolate cake and she gave me a piece of chocolate cake. And yeah, this was a very interesting moment for me. Easy123. Um, that chocolate cake was probably the last thing she had to eat that whole day, but she shared it with us. I'm just wondering, have you ever had somebody share with you their last piece of bread, right? That was a very interesting moment for me. So I'm sitting here looking at this piece of chocolate cake, right? And I'm trying to eat it, but I just cannot eat this piece of chocolate cake. Uh, and I'm thinking, why not? Why can't I eat this piece of chocolate cake? Well, it came from a homeless person, right? Did it come from a garbage can? Did she scrounge it from behind a grocery store? Where did it come from? It was, and all of a sudden I realized that, I try to be so egalitarian all the time. I try to, present myself as someone who is so, pluralistic and open to different opinions and all this kind of stuff. And yet I could not eat this piece of chocolate cake. Because it came from a homeless person, right? I mean, this shows the degree to which I think, I've internalized these distinctions that are there between people, these distinctions between class, these distinctions between wealth. So this is just a little bit of a confession here that I know I know where you're coming from, right? Now, you seem to have found this book called The Call for Unity Religions, A False and Dangerous Call. You seem to have found this book which says that you, as a Muslim, should hate non-Muslims. Um, I guess I can understand how this would be a natural thing. I mean, first of all, I don't believe that this is mainstream Muslim theology, and it certainly is not mainstream Muslim practice. I have many Muslim friends, and none of them hate me, and there's really no reason for this, But I can understand how you might feel about this. Easy123, okay? You probably feel towards me kind of the same way I felt towards this homeless person, right? Different, unclean, somehow less righteous, somehow kufar, right? So it's not like I don't understand where you're coming from. It's not like I don't understand where these feelings of hatred might come from. Um, you know, and I'm not trying to present myself as being better than you in any way, because I'm really not. Um, but here's the thing, easy123. Okay, I also feel these divisions between groups of human beings. Okay, but I'm trying not to. I'm trying really, really hard not to. And I don't really know what the answer to this whole problem is. Okay, but I do think, ironically enough, I do think that the Quran does have the beginnings, at least, of an answer to this. Okay, I just like to read Surah 109. It's my favorite surah, and it's called Disbelievers or Kufar. In the name of God, the mercy-giving, the merciful, say, O disbelievers, I do not serve what you serve, nor are you serving what I serve. I will not worship what you've worshipped, neither will you worship what I have worshipped. You have your religion, I have my religion. Now just think, easy123, just think how much better the history of the world would be if every time two religions met, that they would put this into practice and say, oh wow, you believe this way? That's great. I believe this way? That's great too. You know, I think that's part of the answer. I mean, I think your real worry here is that you don't want all religions to bleed into one, and they're not one. Okay, Islam is not the same as Christianity. This kind of stuff. There's important differences here, which need to be, but it doesn't have to lead to hate, right? I mean, once you say that you hate somebody, that's really crossing a line. I've called people out before on hate speech. This really is literal hate speech. Easy123, and I don't believe it belongs really in the discourse of civilized people.